Hi guys, welcome to episode 60 of the Grapplers Academy. We missed 1 week because my laptop died, but we're going to get 59 up as well. Another week of training now and...
Yeah, another week of training. I think the most exciting stuff this week was the boxing.
Yeah.
From what I saw, the Anderson Silva fight with Tito Ortiz. We were just talking about the knockout then, which was... I said it last time I saw Anderson Silva boxing, he's solid.
Yeah, really impressive.
Amazing movement. I mean, I don't know how old he is now, I'm going to guess he's mid-40s or early 40s at least.
Somewhere in there.
And he's just sharp, man. I'd love to see him, and I think the internet wants to see him fight Jake Paul.
Yeah.
I can't see it happening, to be honest, because unless he takes a dive, he'd knock him out.
I can't see Silva accepting the payout for a dive. Like some of the others might have, but...
And I don't know whether you heard the other thing, like on the flight back to LA, there was some mess up as well, and Anderson Silva gave up his first class seat for Tito Ortiz's wife after he just knocked him out.
Oh, fair. So his wife could sit next to Tito, or...
Yeah.
That's a pretty stand-up thing to do, though, to be fair.
Which is weird that they'd sit them both next to each other on the flight anyway. After the fight, but...
I think Tito possibly early noughties, I don't think they would have, but you must have got a little less sort of loud, I'd say.
They seemed pretty chilled out after the fight, didn't they? It looked like he was peacefully sleeping on the canvas.
Oh, yeah.
After the fight.
Good nap there.
But that was a real nice right hook to the head after showing up in the corner. Beautiful. I'll admit I've not seen the full fight, but probably some of the best.
It's only 60 seconds. I think we saw the...
Was it right at the beginning of the
fight?
fight?
First round, yeah.
Fair enough. But the question would be, would Jake Paul take him on legitimately?
I don't actually see it happening, to be fair. No. Not like the... Jake Paul setting himself up to lose for that one. He's very carefully cherry-picked fighters who don't specialise in striking. Like the guys that he's fought can hit hard, like Tyron proved he can hit hard, but he's not a boxer. He's in a fight, he's waiting to take you down and implement his game plan or counter-strike.
Yeah.
Askren, he's a wrestler. We all know he turned up for the payday on that one. But yeah, I think Anderson Silva will pick him apart.
Anderson Silva's ridiculous. Like, if he would have just gone straight into boxing when he was younger, he probably could have been one of the greatest boxers of all time.
Yeah, 100%.
He's an absolute freak.
Like
in
the way he
terms
can
of natural
move.
capability.
Yeah, it's...
Creativity.
Yeah.
And we've spoken about this before on it, haven't we? Like, you've got to have all the tools in the arsenal, but then it's the ones who are creative that are able to implement the game the best.
Oh, 100%.
On their opponents. Like John Jones is another great example of it.
Yeah.
Super creative, unpredictable.
How do you think John Jones would fare in boxing?
I'm just going to say good, because he's probably one of the most adaptable fighters that I've seen over the years. I know his most recent performances probably weren't his best, but prime John Jones, where he's just creative and I've pretty much seen him overcome adversity in every fight, or like design some creativity that's been unique to the opponent that he's been facing.
Yeah.
And do it in the cage as well.
Yeah, true.
Come up with that strategy on the day.
But we've not really seen him box, or I can't really recall him boxing in the cage. It's always been leg attacks, wrestling, elbows.
I mean, just with the freak athlete that he is, and the natural ability that he displays for creativity, I would imagine that if you just made him focus on hands, he'd have the skills there.
I can see that. I don't think it will be as efficient in boxing as he will be in MMA though.
No, I don't think he'd have the same sort of movement and technique that Anderson Silva's displaying at the moment. But I think he fought as well this weekend, didn't he? Vitor Belfort against
I saw that
Holyfield.
That was hard to watch. Holyfield, kind of like, I understand why he's done it, but it wasn't necessary for him. Like, and then to accept or try and get the fight with Mike Tyson, I don't think it's in his best interest, if I'm honest. Like,
I mean, I think anybody against TRT Vitor is going to have a bad time.
Yeah.
He's got no chill, has he?
No.
He's not coming in for an exhibition.
No. How do you think he'd fare with one of the brothers?
I don't know. I'm just thinking I want to see Anderson Silva versus Vitor Belfort in a boxing match.
Yeah. No, I would like that. Actually, yeah.
It'd be a good fight.
Yeah.
Because they've both got a bit of boxing past as well, haven't they? They've done boxing before. And as much as he's got his highlight spinning wheel kicks and all that sort of stuff, Vitor's got good boxing.
Yeah, very good. And
good hands displayed in the UFC as well.
Yeah.
A really well-rounded fighter. That era of the UFC, as much as the skill of the athletes is developing now, that's that kind of golden age of UFC, isn't it? Anderson Silva, Belfort, Chuck Liddell,
yeah,
Ortiz,
Couture.
Yeah,
Bonner and Griffin, Rashad Evans, Rampage.
Yeah, and then John Jones pretty much came in at the, not the end of that era, but while those guys were all still in the prime.
Yeah.
Shogun.
Machida.
Yeah.
I've got for those who are wrestling fans, it's kind of like the Raw Attitude era, and it's like
late 90s, early 2000s. The best time for sports and sports entertainment.
100%. Like I say, it's not saying that those athletes will be champions in this current UFC sort of era, but they pioneered what the sport is today. They made it into the multi-billion industry it is now, and they say, what was the fighter who, he was UFC, then he went to Belfort and became champion, and they were saying that he was the first all-rounder. Was it Rory McDonald?
TriStar. Yes.
I'd probably go further and say Jones was the first sort of well-rounded actual MMA fighter, rather than being a grappling specialist, striking specialist, jiu-jitsu specialist. John Jones was the first one to be able to display everything at such a high level and not be out of his depth.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know what the ages were on that, because I remember watching one of the UFCs that might have been Roy McDonald's debut, and they were talking about how young he was, and he was this generation of fighter that's coming up now, like all these kids are in the MMA gyms that are training MMA specifically.
Yeah.
I think our age group is probably still that last age group of where you've probably done a discipline before.
Yeah.
If you're younger and you started fighting when you were as a kid, 10 and upwards, you've probably definitely done a discipline before, whether that's kickboxing, karate, judo, boxing, whatever it is. The kids that are coming in nowadays are just straight up learning martial arts, mixed martial arts. And I think probably what I remember what they were referring to when Roy McDonald came through was he was that sort of age of people who were training specifically just for MMA.
Yeah. I think from what I remember, he might have been the first one to have trained how the kids are training now, where he went straight into MMA rather than learning the different disciplines and putting them together. He went straight into that MMA. Yeah, because I don't think Jones had the wrestling background, and then and then he sort of tied it all in very, very nicely. But I don't think he was Yeah, I don't think he would have been the first one to train MMA as an actual martial art.
Yeah. Have you funny story about Rory McDonald? Have you heard the interview on Joe Rogan where they're talking about his entrance music from back in the day?
No.
Where he had some weird entrance music. I'll just tell you quickly, anybody can go and watch it on the full thing. But he came out to some like weird song selections for a while, like Rihanna and some other weird ones like that. And apparently the story behind that was that he got rid of his phone. His old number had been given away to somebody else. And Dana White had texted him on that number to say, what do you want your entrance music to be for the next show? Yeah, and the guy was a fan. And he goes, like, just trying to wind him up and stuff like Rihanna. So he didn't even have any idea what his entrance music was coming out. And he comes out to, like, shine bright like a diamond and all that sort of stuff. Everybody in the arena is like, what the fuck's going on here? Because I can't remember what the song was before, but it was probably like Disturbed or some heavy metal, old school anime sort of thing. And then he comes out to Rihanna and the whole arena's like lighting up pink and stuff.
To be fair, I think coming out to that kind of music just sets the precedent and the tone of being like, yeah, this is going to be a fun night.
For a bit of fun.
Yeah.
No, but it's good to see that now, and like, everyone can reminisce and appreciate on the old days. It'd be good to see how those golden era guys would come in and fare against the guys now. It's like a different level of aggression and intensity there from those old school guys, but you've got that technicality now, and that's not to take away from the technique of the guys back in the day, because they've got amazing technique, just maybe a little bit more narrow in terms of the spectrum of it.
I've got to say, I think there's probably only going to be a handful of those who would have been, I don't know whether, like...
GSP.
GSP definitely would have
Silva.
been. Silva and Couture. I definitely think they'd either been contenders or champions. But the rest, I don't think they'd be top 10. If I'm completely honest.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of anybody now who's
BJ
as wild as like Chuck Liddell, was that's as successful now in the UFC.
I think the only one that I could probably think like a Chuck Liddell might have been like a Cerrone. But he's
that sort of era as well, isn't he? The tail end of that coming up, similar sort of time or just before John Jones. He's been around for a fucking long time, hasn't he?
Yeah, very long time.
And then you think about people who've come and gone in that period of time and retired, like Bisping.
Lieben.
Yeah. It's been 20 years since the kind of time that we're talking about, isn't it? Which is insane.
That's just taking it right back, isn't it?
2001. Think about who was on the big shows then. 2002, 2003.
Yeah, because like when Stephen Bonner won Tough, and then John Jones' debut fight was with Stephen Bonner, and was it Stephen Bonner? I think it might have been, and just dismantled him. And it's kind of like Bonner was I think probably one of the top 10 money at the time, and then for someone to come in and just do that from being a nobody, really, really impressive.
So like a bit later on, but look at this for a card. So UFC 99, Rich Franklin versus Wanderlei Silva, Ken Velasquez versus Czech Congo, and Mirko Krokop.
See, for me, that's a dream card.
Mike Swick, Ben Saunders, Dan Hardy.
Yeah. Do you know what I've got to say? I think Ben Saunders would have done fairly well in this era. Because I remember him just being wild. Because I think he was on one of the Tough series that I watched recently. I've just been going back and watching them all. And he was like, I just want to get in there, get hit, and enjoy the fight, and have fun. And I'm like, we can see that. We can see that in your fighting style. But
I'm just trying to look back at some older cards now, like going all the way back to UFC 30.
Like Rich Franklin was an absolute monster, but like really nice guy with it as well. I do think BJ Penn in this era would have been top 5, if not a contender for the title.
Old school BJ Penn.
Yeah, like prime
See, there was a period of time there as well where some of those fighters were over in Pride fighting, and Pride was arguably bigger than the UFC at that time in terms of the names that they had and the back and forth between fighters going between organisations.
And that was when the contracts were sort of like, you could go from UFC to Pride, to then back to UFC, back over to Pride.
Even that, like 2009, that was that UFC 99 that I was just reading out then, seems like so long ago.
Yeah.
Ken Vasquez fighting seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, it's a shame he got injured so much. Like, because I think he's probably one of the greatest heavyweights the UFC has seen.
And similar,
I'd argue better than Miocic, to be honest.
Yeah.
Better than DC. And I'm a big DC fanboy.
So I'm just trying to look, bringing it back to boxing as well, and MMA fighters making a crossover into boxing. What you don't see is anybody doing it the other way around, but I don't know if you remember James Toney. I'm just trying to look at when the date was for that.
I don't even think Couture threw a punch, took him down, mounted him, head and arm choke, finished.
It's kind of like a courtesy win though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to beat the fuck out of you. I'm not going to ground and pound you on the floor. I'm just going to take you down, choke you out, and have it done with. You know, you've come over and tried to box, doesn't work.
No.
Go away, no damage.
That's it. Like, and he walked away with a pretty decent paycheck. And James Toney was a great boxer. So you've got a win over. Because he was heavyweight champion, wasn't he, for a while, James Toney. So you've got a win over ex-heavyweight boxing champion in MMA in the first round without throwing a punch.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big stat to have on your record.
And that just takes it all back to like all the old Gracie challenge matches and stuff like that, where they've got the dojo storms, you get the street fighter coming in, it's just like stomp leg kick, shoot the double, take the back, choke them out.
Yeah.
Or hit them in the head a couple of times from the back like they used to like to do. That's good, man. You know, I'd like to. I don't know whether I want to see more crossover stuff. I like the excitement around combat sports, but I don't know. It is what it is. I think MMA is the best, most well-rounded sport.
Yeah.
To be honest, if I want to watch just striking, although there are some great highlights from striking in MMA and boxing, I'd rather watch kickboxing.
Yeah. K1.
Glory.
Is Dream as well?
Dream,
yeah. Like M1. I really enjoy the M1 setup.
I don't know why it's not more popular. You know, you look at a fighter like Rico Verhoeven. How is that not exciting to anybody?
Yeah. Do you know what I think the media or boxing media seems to have demonised kicking. So it's kind of like, that's not an effective tool. If you can't use your hand, it's like, well, you've got 4 limbs. Like, use them, and if you can know how to use them effectively, you're going to be a very effective fighter. Like John Wayne Parr, like, watching him fight, amazing. And do you remember the Contender series with kickboxing years ago?
No.
Do you remember when he used to do it for the boxing when Sylvester Stallone was hosting it? It's pretty much tough, but on ITV.
Yeah, okay.
He had a kickboxing one as well. And they had...
when was that? Like 10 years ago or something?
Yeah, like good 10 years ago. And they had I think it was Yachts and Clyde. Like, they all come in and they were really good kickboxers. Well, Yachts and Clyde come in and he was a step above. Just destroyed them with leg kicks and body kicks.
Yeah.
Like, and if you've not watched it, I would highly recommend going back and watch it. I think I might try and dig up on YouTube now to find it.
This is where we take it down memory lane. We do this quite often, don't we? Like we'll start talking about Ernesto Hoost, Crow Cop, all the old K1 days.
Do you know what? I had a conversation with somebody recently, and they were talking about like, it goes, oh yeah, I think they were talking about fighters who had jobs in the military and stuff like that. And you had Crow Cop, who was in the Czech police. Yeah. And who was the Brazilian one? I'm pretty sure he was a lightweight, top 5 contender. Really exciting fight. And every countdown show, it had him carrying a machine gun raiding houses.
UFC fighter?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like a really exciting fighter. I don't know if he won the title, but I remember every countdown show had him going in, raiding houses with a huge machine gun as part of the Brazilian
like
Special Forces. Yeah.
Tim Kennedy?
Tim Kennedy. Like,
do you remember the show that Tim Kennedy was headlining where it was like Fight for the Troops?
Kill or something?
No, like a show. Yeah, he has got that TV show, but they did. There was a card for the military on a military base.
Was that the one that was outdoors?
It was like in a hangar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big fight. I can't remember who he fought.
That was a really good event for that.
I was sure Yoel Romero was on that card as well.
There was another fighter. He wasn't the Brian Stan.
Yes, yeah.
I don't think he had the best wrestling, but he really good hands. And because he was he active in the military still?
Yeah, was he a Marine?
Yeah, like there's a really good like history with special forces and the forces in combat sports, and it just makes the fighters, I don't know, it just gives them a different mindset, and it's really good to watch.
Check out that card from the Fight for the Troops.
Tim Kennedy, yeah. Yo, well, what year was that? Fight Night 31? 2013. Well, it just goes to show the longevity of Romero there as well.
Romero is one of my favourite guys to watch from back in the day. Like, lull you in with like slow movement and then explode.
Yeah, and his judo is beautiful to watch, and his wrestling is just beautiful. Like, watching him and breaking him down and watching his footwork and his hip movement, like, someone so technical, someone so big should not be able to move like that.
Who was it they did a flying knee at from across the ring and like knocked him out? Was it Chris Weidman? With his, like, he did a flying knee from across the ring and basically knocked him out with a knee to the head.
Not too sure.
And cut him up. There was a period in time where the middleweight division was my favourite, because you had Romero, Jacare, Michael Bisping, Vitor, Luke Rockhold, Tim Kennedy.
Just absolute.
Just a ridiculous division.
Division. Yeah, I'm going to be going back watching a few of these old cards now. Like, I miss it. I just miss watching Chuck Liddell come out and just swinging from the hips and knocking guys out. Like, he'd probably get caught very easily now, but yeah, and his book's brilliant to read as well. Have you read that?
No, I've read it.
Really good read. Some really good stories. I can't remember them all now, but I remember really enjoying the book.
Well, what UFC, we had Paddy Pimblett had his debut in the UFC last week, didn't he?
Yeah.
This week just gone.
Good performance from what I've not watched the card yet, but good performance from what I've seen on the highlights.
Got rocked and then managed to come back through that and get a knockout himself. Did he, or am I making it up, fight on the Polaris card in Manchester on that grappling event in Manchester? Polaris, it was
remember.
Like a couple of years ago.
I don't remember it fully. I've seen him at grappling events, but I've not seen him like I can't remember seeing him on a Polaris, unless it was one of his teammates and he was cornering.
No, he was on the event, he lost. I can't remember. He fought against Polaris 11. Let's have a look. This was the one in Manchester.
I can't remember. Vaguely. No, I think I might have been at the event.
Stephen Ray, lost by heel hook.
Fair. I mean, most MMA fighters aren't going to have a jiu-jitsu focus. They're going to have a grappling focus on staying on top, aren't they? So if you jiu-jitsu MMA fighter, you're going to have them come unstuck, especially once you can get them on the back.
That was quite a good card, that. It was the one where Nicky Rod fought Ben Dyson and basically did a take-off airplane double leg on it.
Yeah, I remember the card. I think I watched it at home. Yeah, because I remember the Satoshi Ishii. Really enjoyed watching him fight, actually, Satoshi. Yeah, because that was around when Langaka was really popular with what he was doing.
August 2019, so 2 years ago.
Oh wow. And speaking of grappling matches, we've had the confirmation, haven't we, for Galvao, Gordon Ryan.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they've confirmed it for the next ADCC Super Fight.
2023?
Next year. No, the next year. I think it's 22, I think.
So they're skipping a year. So it would have...
Should have been this year.
Should have been this year, shouldn't it? But
So it's going to next year.
Okay.
And been scheduled for the...
Nice.
Gordon Ryan had a charity match recently, didn't it? Over the weekend. Apparently toyed with the guy, let himself get into really, really compromising positions, and then finished him with seconds to go.
Who was the guy?
I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. It was a charity match from what I can gather, but apparently he just went out there and just toyed with the guy for ages. It's like,
I mean, he's good as much as people might not like him.
There's levels.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Remember that match in IBJJJJF?
JJJJJ.
Where he just basically went like 45 up on points, just breakdancing on that dude's back.
I was there for that fight.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, it was the year I went to the Worlds and sat just in the bullpen watching, and he just absolutely murked the guy that he was against.
Yeah, it reminded me of that match where Galvao was basically breakdancing on that guy's back in Turtle. I don't know, I'm excited to see this match. Like, as much fake or whatever, the slap, the bullshit, animosity, all that sort of stuff, like, it should be a good fight.
Should we go predictions?
I can't not say Gordon Ryan.
I'm gonna go Galvao in all the time though.
Wrestle fucking.
Yeah. I can't see him finishing him, but I can see him basically getting like a last minute 2 points and taking the match.
The hardest match that I think that Gordon Ryan had at the last ADCC was Barbosa.
Yeah.
He gave him the most trouble with his stand up, and that was probably the most exciting match of his from that tournament, to be honest. So yeah.
That's where like Galvao and Barbosa are very similar stylistically.
Yeah.
But Galvao does it better.
Yeah.
And he won't have had 10 fights over the weekend if he's coming in for that one fight only.
What's Gordon Ryan doing? Is he competing in the Open?
I believe he wants to compete, but I don't know if he can if you're in the super fight.
They said not last time, didn't they?
Yeah.
After the previous ADCC, but I don't know, it'd be interesting to just see them come in fresh on the fights, then there's no excuses either way.
Yeah.
You can put Slapgate to rest then.
Oh yeah. I do think there's going to be some very heavy clubbing. I think it's going to be worse than the Felipe Pena match.
That was a good match. If Galvao comes out in that sort of attitude and basically just tries to wrestle fucking and does some dirty wrestling, it'll be like a UFC match because people will be going through the commentary table. And I can't imagine that the end of that match is going to be very sportsmanlike, however it ends.
No, not at all.
There's going to be somebody telling someone to fuck off.
What I can see happening is one of them is going to go for the old fake, we'll be friends after the match. The other one's just going to go, fuck off. And then that's going to be the headlines the next day. Nothing about the match, purely about, similar to the Musumeci Martinez match. Nobody cared about the match. Like, watching it, it's probably one of the most technical leg lock battles you'll ever watch. But I didn't see anything about the match. All I saw was the Musumeci meltdown in the.
He was angry. He wanted that handshake.
It's like, I get why Gio didn't do it, but Gio also apologised after not handshaking his hand.
Is that even possible to be a fighter at ADCC? Did he fight in the same weight class?
Yeah, they do. I'd like to see a rematch of that, to be fair.
Does he compete at ADCC?
I hope so. I mean, I think he takes it, if I'm honest. And I can almost see him taking the open weight.
When do we have to wait for that?
Next year, I think it's going to be next summer. And I know what I'm doing that day, or that weekend. Clearing my schedule, big screen TV, flow grappling on, and I am not moving from the TV screen.
Yeah, so it's all the trials coming up, isn't it? 2022 date. Very exciting.
That's it. let us know below your thoughts if you think Musumeci's going to go in, and I think he's going to take the open weight, if I'm honest with you. Especially with no Gordon Ryan there. I would love to see Gary Tolan and Musumeci. That would be a great fight. Especially if Musumeci goes into the leg lock exchanges with him, knowing that he's still the Danaher's tutelage. But yeah, let us know below what you think of what we've said. Galvao, Gordon Ryan, get your predictions in. I'm going Galvao in overtime by points.
I'm going Gordon Ryan by heel hook in 10 seconds.
Fair.
We've also got the B team going to be competing at ADCC as well.
Be interesting watching. I think Jones is going to do very well in the open weight.
Jones is big enough to go up to the under 99.
Got Nicky Rod up that way, haven't they?
Nicky Rod's there.
Yeah.
Oh, he'll be plus 99.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, because Gordon Ryan was that under 99 weight bracket, wasn't he? So
yes.
maybe Craig Jones moves up to under 99.
I think he looks better in the under 88.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know, because if Diniz is still in it, and if Jones hasn't figured out Diniz, it makes more sense for him to go to 99 because he's got a better chance of getting the gold.
It does, because that puzzle's been there a couple of times, hasn't it? And it always ends up panning out the same way.
It's always a shit match as well.
Yeah.
I can see Nicky Rod taking gold in his division. I can see 2 gold medals coming from the B team, Jones and Nicky Rod. The others, they're great. Maybe Nicky Ryan might take it. Gordon straight into the super fight if they allow him to compete. If they allow him to compete and he's under 99, do you think Jones goes to under 99 for that fight?
If he wants to win. I don't know, I'd like to see that. I'll tell you who else I'd like to see back as well at ADCC is Keenan.
Yes. Well, from his recent podcast episodes, it sounds like he's enjoying not being an athlete. He sounds like he's just enjoying coaching, training, and not having to worry about.
Fair play. That we talked about this, I think, on the last podcast that isn't up yet, so you'll probably hear it after this one. But he's done a great job of setting up his school and his online academy.
Yeah.
And he's talked a lot before about wanting to leave a legacy from teaching and coaching. So yeah, fair play to him.
No, definitely. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, drop a comment below with your thoughts on what we spoke about today. And yeah, we'll see you next week.